Hello, everyone. I am Jeneé Amore with Amore Awareness, and today I'm going to talk about how to communicate effectively in a argument or disagreement or some kind of issue. How to just communicate your feelings and your thoughts. But before I get started, if you have not subscribed, please do. Please press the bell notification because you know that I spontaneously go live. So I would love for you guys to be able to pop in and ask me questions and give your input as well. So I have a little makeup on from a leftover from a fashion show I did. I ripped off them lashes though because it's too much for me. Way too much for me. But I would like to talk about how to communicate effectively. I'm going to start off with talking about women, how to communicate effectively with a man, because it definitely is different dealing with men versus women just because of how our brains operate and how we think and how we operate with our feelings and our thoughts and stuff like that. So I have had this issue my whole life, and I have been trying to figure out how in the world to communicate effectively with men. I've talked to a therapist before, and they tell me stuff like, say I words, I feel, I feel, I feel. And I have noticed that when I say I feel to men, they tend to not understand feelings. They tend to invalidate feelings. They tend to belittle. They tend to maybe like say you're being childish or whatever because you have feelings, and say things that are hurtful because they can't process feelings. They're like, oh, the feelings are stupid or they're crazy, or and it hurts so bad. And it's even more offensive because you think that you're being vulnerable with them, and then they go and like shoot you down with these like, that your feelings don't matter. Oh, it's stupid. Oh, that doesn't make sense. Oh, that's dumb. And it's so harsh that we end up barking back at them because now we're like, we were just being vulnerable with you. Screw you now, Now we're pissed and now it's an argument. So I want to help you be able to communicate more effectively. If this does not work, get rid of him, sis. Okay, get rid of him because he is toxic. Okay, but this is a problem amongst most men. So this is how I communicate with a man. If you have an issue, do not say how you feel and how it made you feel. Say words like, I have observed. I observed A, B, C, D. And in my observation, I concluded this. And that's what you say to everything. Say, I observed you doing this and that. And because of that, it didn't make me feel like this. I concluded, or my perspective was, or I perceived, or from my perspective. Those are the words that you use. You have to be extremely logical and to the point and blunt. With men, they do not understand being around the bush. They do not quite, not all of them, I'm not going to say all, but sometimes they don't quite comprehend feelings, and that feelings are just feelings. They're not like, it's not saying this is what it is. It's just the way it makes me feel, and I want to be comforted and this and that. No, they don't understand all of that. So you just bypass all that I want to be comforted stuff and my feelings and vulnerable, and just say, this is what I perceived. This is what I observed. And from my perspective, this is what I've concluded. And that gives them the opportunity to think logically and be like, they can't undermine you. They can't invalidate you. They can't do any of that because now they have to come from a place of logic. And now they have to be like, I see from your perspective. I see that when you saw this and that, when I did this and that, it made you conclude this. And I can see how you concluded that because they can understand logic. Okay, they can understand logic. And if the guy doesn't get it, get rid of him because it's just too much. So anytime I've used this tactic on a guy, it's always, anytime I've used the I feel, it almost seems like 99.999% of the time, I'm completely invalidated. But every single time, 100% of the time I've used this, it has worked. It has worked. It has worked for me. It has worked for my friends. And I just felt like it needed to be shared because communication is so big. And when we want to get things across, we really want to solve problems and find solutions. And the only way that we can do that is be able to speak each other's language. So I'm going to talk about how to handle women. Now, a woman who hasn't seen this video, she's not going to know to communicate in a way that is direct, in a way that is logical, in a way that's saying, this is what I perceived, this is what I observed, and keeping it like that. She's not going to know that. What she's going to say is, I feel this way, I feel that way, this hurt my feelings. You made me feel like this, you made me feel like that. That's what she's going to do. And when that happens, men, you have to be able to not try to be right, but just try to understand her feelings does not mean that that's what is 100% right. That's not what's going on here. When she says she feels a certain way, all she wants is to be like, I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. That wasn't my intention. And you embrace her and you validate her and you understand that I see your point of view. I see how you could have felt that way. I completely understand. That was not my intention. That's it. Don't just go straight into invalidating her. Don't go straight into saying, no, that's not true. That's wrong. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not wrong. Because it's not about being right or wrong. When it comes to a woman, it's not about her being right. She's not trying to be right when she says, these are my feelings. That's not her intention on telling you her feelings. Her intention on telling you her feelings are to be vulnerable with you so that you can have an understanding of her point of view and her perspective, and that you can reassure her that that wasn't your intention. So make sure, men, that you use that word, intention. That is a important word. That is not my intention. I'm sorry. I mean, if it was, then, you're just an asshole. But if it really wasn't your intention, if you really were trying to be but most of the time it's not your intention. I'm just gonna go. Most of the time you guys are sometimes oblivious to the stuff that happens and the things that hurt women's feelings or whatever. Sometimes you guys are just oblivious. And when a woman expresses herself and tells you how she feels, that's a time for you to embrace her, to hear her, to understand her, to say, I see your perspective. I understand why you feel that way, because you have to understand when she expresses her feelings. Always try to have an understand first and then clarify. Do not try to clarify without validating her feelings. Do not try to clarify without validating her feelings, because then you're just arguing with her, and it's basically like telling her, no, you're wrong, no. So don't do that. Validate her feelings, then clarify your real intentions and your point of the story and all of that. It just takes that. And I feel like a lot of men miss the first part, which is understanding her side of the story first, before you try to defend yourself and defend your position and say how you're not wrong and this and that. And when you do that, you're coming from a place of fighting, because if you're trying to defend your position, you guys are now on two different places, right? If you're defending your position, you guys are on opposite teams. You guys are not a partnership. This is not teamwork anymore. But if you go and you understand the other person first, you're on the same team. And now the problem is on the other team. Now it's you guys against the problem, not you guys against each other. So understand them first so that you're on the same. I get it. I understand why you feel that way. I get you. That wasn't my intention. My intention was this. And now you guys are working on the same team. And you as a man, you lead in the way that you present or the way that you carry yourself or conduct yourself. You are the leader in the way that the conversation is going to go. You handle, you control, you manipulate it, you make it move the way you want to move with your response. So with your response, you're either going to create or destroy. So be very, very, very careful and think about what you're going to say before you say it, and if the outcome that you're going to get is what you actually desire. Remember what outcome you want. If you want to be together, if you want to work it out, then you must keep a woman's feelings closely and be very kind and gentle to them by understanding them, by nurturing them, by saying, I hear you, I get you, I understand completely. But that wasn't my intention to do that to you. And that will ease so many conflicts. And after you do that, you guys go grow, you bond, you get closer when you resolve things and when you nurture each other's feelings and your emotions and your thoughts. You get closer, and you really can end up having such a great bond and even making up in the way that you may make up, you know? And it's just great for a relationship. So, communicating through problems and through feelings is so important. And I really hope that this helped you guys get a better understanding. If you want me to make a video about anything else, or maybe even go into depth on a few more things, let me know in the comments below. I am Jeneé Amore with Amore Awareness.